When I was 13 years old, the church I grew up in underwent a gigantic construction and renovation project. It was so massive that it involved tearing down an old asbestos-ridden building and in its place connecting the four separate buildings of the church, all built over the course of 3 centuries with different aesthetics and uneven ground levels, in an attempt to create one uniform building that glided you through the church's 224-year history. As the preacher's kid of this church, I could not have asked for a better playground. Nearly every day, I would walk as quickly as I could those 3 blocks from my school to the church in anticipation of the construction that happened during class. At first, it was exciting. Demolition was everywhere. I even picked up a sledgehammer a time or two. Soon, a giant hole 30 feet beneath the city's downtown crust developed. But then it all stopped. Everything came to a virtual halt. Sure, my dad told me that there had been workers there all day working hard, but I couldn't tell any difference. The foundation was taking forever, and it was so boring. And I began to wonder, would this building ever be truly realized? This Sunday, we hear a strange reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus asks his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" And they throw out some names. Maybe it's John the Baptist, or it could be Elijah, or maybe Jeremiah. I don't know, one of the others. But then Jesus asks a more pointed question. "But who do you say that I am?" And Simon Peter responds, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." You know, Peter doesn't always get things right. He didn't do too well 2 weeks ago in an attempt to walk on water, but today, Peter aces the test. Jesus says, "Blessed are you. You are right. You will be called Peter, my rock, my foundation, and upon you I will build my church, and nothing can tear it down." But then something strange happened. Jesus says, "But don't tell anybody about this." You know, it's hard. When we find something out, something that excites us, that empowers us, something that gives us hope, it's hard to not share it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go and stand outside an elementary school during pickup and listen to the children as they tell their parents everything they learned during the day. We want to share the good news. We yearn to share the good news. But in this instance, and indeed often throughout the Gospel of Matthew and especially Mark, Jesus tells his disciples to not say anything. You know, I remember standing over that pit 20 years ago, wondering if that building would ever be built. The foundation was taking too long. The plans didn't make any sense. And I was impatient. I think a lot of us are like that now. We live in a time of immediacy, and everything else is considered a failure. We want a finished product now, be it a church addition or the Messiah, or even a vaccine. We want it now. But wisdom says to wait. Because before you can build something grand, you need a rock. You need a foundation. Because without a foundation, what you create, the hope you generate, it'll all go unfounded as it crumbles into rubble. So we wait. We listen to Jesus. We don't say the greatness, the hope, the good news until the people are ready to hear us. Instead, we build that foundation on which greatness can stand. I am convinced that one of the greatest failures of this time is our unwillingness to do the long, hard work of foundation building in racism, justice, citizenship, bipartisanship, community, church, faith, the list goes on. We instead want people to be great now. We want people to understand racism now, or to transform justice now, or to be great citizens or Christians now. Like Jesus said to Peter that faithful day, you can't tell them just yet. They're not ready. They haven't walked the roads that you have walked with me. They haven't been taught like you have been taught with me. They haven't spent the time. They haven't developed that foundation. They are not ready. So first, Peter, my rock, we must build the foundation on which their faith can flourish. The building of my youth did get built, even if only after months of digging, preparing, and pouring its foundation. But it was worth it. The foundation was strong. It had to be. It had to uphold the weight, not just of 3 stories of buildings on top of it, but the heavier weight, the weight of the work of the church, the education, the fellowship, the ministry of the church. And it does. To this day, Christ Church Cathedral thrives on top of that foundation built 20 years ago. Y'all, our foundation is strong. There's no doubt about that. It has been formed over the decades with education and love and prayer and community, and even a little bit of barbecue thrown in there. But I don't want you to think that our foundation is complete, because our work is continuous. Our growth is continuous. We begin a foundation anew each time we begin a new ministry, or someone finds our Red Doors or our Facebook or YouTube page. The work of our foundation of unconditional love, of acceptance and nourishment, empowerment and action is indeed endless. It is hard, and I know it can be exhausting, and it can seem like it is taking forever. But if you build that steady foundation on top of it, just imagine what can flourish.